Have you ever stepped into a museum and left starving? It might be because there aren't too many snacks around, but it's also because of all the paintings of food you saw. Food paintings and depictions of edible things have been part of famous artwork since the very beginning. From ancient Egyptians carving depictions of crops and breads on tablets, to hyper-realistic grapes painted by Dutch masters, food and art have a long and rich relationship, and that won't end anytime soon. These are our top 10 picks of food paintings throughout history. Let's start with number 10. Cézanne is synonymous with still life paintings, and quite frankly, nothing is as still as food. The painting is actually part of a series of 6 and can be found at the Musée d'Orsay, who actually once called it the most important still life produced by an artist in the late 1890s. That's very specific, but you're not going to find us arguing with a cultural powerhouse like the Musée d'Orsay. Arcimboldo was known for his sense of humor and wasn't afraid to push the boundaries a little bit. Even knowing that, it's hard to imagine someone being commissioned to paint a portrait of the most powerful man in Europe and delivering a picture of him looking like a fruit golem. In all fairness, the emperor likely knew about Arcimboldo's unique and irreverent style and was expecting nothing less than this face to be replaced by a gigantic pineapple. Duhaime actually came from a family of food painters and created one of the most spectacular depictions of a banquet out there. It's lavish, it's opulent, and it's unapologetically extra. It's the kind of meal that a fantasy emperor or sultan would be feasting on in the 17th century. This painting is large and in charge, and it would look right at home in a giant dining hall. If there was a prize for the most delicious looking 17th century French still life painting, there's a good chance that it would go to Louise Moillon. Moillon was one of the best still life artists of her time, and she specialized in depictions of realistic fruit platters. What makes this painting even more special is that it was one of only around 40 artworks produced by the artist during her lifetime. Yes, yet another still life. But we're including this one because of many Van Gogh's most famous techniques and trademarks are out here in full force. While paintings of apples have been a staple of still lifes for centuries, Van Gogh put his own special post-impressionist spin on things. His characteristic blues and greens dominate the background, which is equally as colorful and mesmerizing as the vibrant red apples in the foreground of the image. Any respectable list of famous food paintings has to feature this iconic series by Warhol. His soup cans are probably the most widely known depictions of food in the 20th century. By using semi-automated techniques, Warhol's work represented a dramatic turn away from the world of fine art and into the eye-grabbing world of pop art. Dutch painters of the 17th century were famous for their still lifes, capturing kitchen and table scenes in vividly realistic detail. Few are better than this one by Van Dyck, who helped pioneer a specific type of food painting known as a banketje, or little banquet. It's also an interesting time capsule of Dutch cuisine, which, if you know a little bit about it, looks like nothing's really changed since 1615. With a last name like Bacon, it's no wonder this painting made waves in the 20th century. It pretty much sums up the reverence, controversy, and not afraid to offend mentality held by contemporary artists like Bacon around this time. Some critics consider it to represent death and the fleeting nature of existence, while others think it's a critique on religious authority due to its resemblance to a Velázquez painting of the Pope. We'll let you decide. We're including this one purely because Van Gogh himself declared it the best thing he ever did. And that's coming from someone who is notoriously hard on himself. His intention for the painting was to depict peasant life and how it really was. In the Netherlands, this meant, you guessed it, potatoes. While butter paintings might be a bit of a niche interest, in the 19th century, depictions of food and even food preparations were very popular. Still lifes and kitchen scenes were pretty much all the rage, and very few did these better than Antoine Moillon. Also, it's a giant glob of butter. Who can really be mad at that? And there you have it, our top 10 paintings of food. Find out more about the individual works of culinary art through the link in the video description. Or head to tickets.com/blog and find it there.